My name is David. Today we're going to show you how to lubricate the cables and sheaves and chain on an open cable steering system. The general layout or design of these systems is that your steering wheel on your boat drives a short length of chain, which is then attached to wire cables that are routed back to your rudder, where they actuate your steering quadrant on your rudder. They do this via being routed through sheaves, which whenever the cables have to make a turn, the sheaves, which are like a pulley, change the direction of the cable. So we're going to start today up on the fly bridge, and we're going to lubricate the wires, the cables that come off of our steering wheel up on the fly bridge. So we're going to crawl into the dash here where we have access to these cables. Okay, we'll get started here. This diagram shows how many steering systems are designed. Your steering wheel attaches to a short chain, which then is attached to cables, and the cables are routed back to the rudder via sheaves that allow the cable to turn and get back to the rudder head back here. So there are all kinds of variations, but this is in general how they are designed. So we're going to lubricate these sheaves and also the cable and check the tension of the cable to make sure it's not too tight or too loose. For this job you'll need a handheld grease gun. Don't get a big one, get a small one, and make sure it has a flexible spout. You'll also need a little oil can with 30 weight oil in it, and Goldenrod makes one with an 8-inch flexible spout. That would be very useful. In addition to that, you'll need some rags, and it's very helpful if you have a second person that can help you turn the steering wheel and things like that while you're down below. This is the type of oil can I used, but there are better ones than this. There's one with a flexible, this is a 6-inch spout. You can buy them with a 8-inch spout that's rigid, or with a flexible 8-inch spout. That's what I would get. So in fact, I may buy one here shortly. Okay, we're now up in the dash of our fly bridge, and that round thing with the cables on it is what is actuated when you turn the steering wheel, and then those cables go down below where they connect to cables from the salon. So there's also a Zerk fitting up here, a grease fitting, that we're going to shoot some grease into, which will help lubricate things also. So we're going to crawl into the dash here and lubricate these. So we've taken our oil-soaked rag and we just squeeze it on the cable, and then have another person turn the steering wheel full 360 degrees, and it will spread that oil on the cable. So, okay, we finished that part. We're going to proceed to step 2. There are 2 Zerk fittings on our flybridge steering shaft. One up here, one over here. You put your grease gun on this and shoot some grease in. You'll see it start to ooze out, and that's how you know when to stop. So we're now done up on the flybridge steering wheel, and we're going to go down below and work on things down there. We're now down in the salon at our main steering wheel in the salon, and it appears there's only one Zerk fitting here. So our steering wheel is right here, and then when we pull our dash away, we've got this Zerk fitting here. So step 1 is we're going to put the grease gun on this Zerk fitting, shoot some grease in there, and then we're going to take our small oil can and we're going to lubricate this chain and this chain over here. So we're progressing here. We'll be right back. Okay, we've got our grease gun on this Zerk fitting, and we're going to shoot some grease in there, and just wait for it to ooze out, and then you know that you've got enough grease in there. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to lube this chain. Just take your little oil can, and don't put huge amounts of oil on it, but just enough to get it well lubricated, and then we're going to do the same thing with this chain back here. When you're lubing this chain, have your friend turn your steering wheel full 360 degrees so that you are able to lube all the chain. Okay, now we're going to lube this back chain that's back there. Okay, we're now down in the engine room. This is the first sheave. The cable comes down from the steering wheel, and this is directly beneath the steering wheel. So we're going to take our oil can. We're going to lubricate this sheave here, the bushing that it rotates on. Okay, here we are in the lazarette. These are the last two sheaves. Just make sure they turn freely. Have your friend turn the steering wheel and shoot a little bit of oil into the bushing for each one. And then lastly, we're going to take a rag and we're going to wipe this with the oily rag, the cables, to make sure they're nice and lubricated. Okay, we're now back in the lazarette at the rudder post and the steering quadrant. Make sure that these cables are routed in the correct slots. When we first got this boat, one of these was routed in the wrong slot. So over here on the starboard side, you can see there are the two slots. So make sure the cable's in the correct slot. And then because our cables seem like they're a little bit loose, I'm going to take up a little bit of slack. This is your adjustment nut here. And I put a mark because I want to tighten these equally, because you don't want to throw off your center position. So I'm going to tighten them about one turn each, and we'll see what that does. So just play around with that if need be. If it seems too tight, then you would back these off a little bit. So we're going to try to tighten this a little bit. Okay, we finished lubing our steering cable and sheaves. It's a lot easier if you have somebody to help you. And the frequency that you do this depends upon how much you use your boat. It's been several years since we've done it, and we noticed an improvement after doing it today. But it just depends largely upon how much you use your boat. So check it now and then. It's not too much trouble, and it'll help your steering keep from getting too tight. So good luck.